The big, beautiful short, guys. I'm recording this on June 24th, 2025. My prediction is the market is going to gap down tomorrow. Now, it's highly unlikely considering the rest of the world is highly bullish. Not a single Wall Street analyst is bearish at all. All focuses on AI, top technology stocks climbing higher. Now, for whatever reason, nobody's talking about the technicalities of the market, such as, sure, the market is back today at one point in the trading session within 11 points of all-time highs. It makes sense that, hey, why wouldn't it at least try to come up tomorrow at 11 points, at least to revisit that? Well, if you look at things from technical perspective, like as far as charts and indicators and many various patterns, sometimes the market will not do that. Sometimes it'll literally stall out 11 points from the prior top, which would technically mean a lower high. And then when the market opens tomorrow, we could be gapping down. Now, the gap down could be 30-point gap, and overall, by the end of the day, we could be down 100 points. The gap down could be 50 points. And, overall, by the end of the day, we could be down 200. But in the current state of the market, the main characteristic is, if you look at Microsoft, for example, if you pull up a chart of Microsoft, what do you see? Sure, it's going up. It's at all-time highs. And it's getting there on just non-existent volume. Okay, that's how tops are formed. In other words, for Microsoft to sustain this price action, ideally you want to see some strong volume to come in. So when the market climbs in sort of a scary cat kind of way back to the prior levels, you want to see a breakout, or you want to see at least some decent sized moves to the upside that are also backed up by a breakout in volume. Otherwise, some of these moves, they're very unsustainable. You could see a few more days. Clearly, I could be out by a few days, but my bad is that we're going to gap down tomorrow and move 3 formation. And that is despite of how bullish things are. That's despite of how resilient the market's been with all the political drama, with all the wars, with everything that's going on. And yes, you can argue that the market's been able to brush off all the bad things. And, my argument to that would be we have not even begun to see the severity of the situation. So really quickly, today, actually yesterday, we shorted CRCL. Now, full disclosure, we had several attempts to short CRCL on the way up, but yesterday we finally nailed it. I sent out in the group, and if you trade with me, I said, look, the moment it gets close to 300 or hits 300, that's it. That's your ticket. It's got 100% probability of a drop. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with CRCL ticker symbol, it's been one of the hottest stocks, like in the entire freaking universe, right? And like a week ago, I was trading at 110. Well, yesterday was $1 shy of 300. We pulled the trigger with some heavy size, and it begins dropping like literally shortly, like minutes after we put on the big short. And, today it opens up at 250, and it makes a little bounce. We add it to the position, and then needless to say, okay, it's at 217. So basically a stock is making like a 30% move within a 24-hour time frame. And that coincides, right? The markets were not quite within 11 points off the highs yesterday, but a stock that's been incredibly popular, that's been going higher and higher and higher pretty much every fucking day for the last 2 weeks. Again, ticker is CRCL. Okay, it touches within $1, the 300 level. And since then, it can't stop falling, okay? And I would say that this is a representation of what the rest of the market is about to do. And I can give you a case after case after case. Some of the other popular stocks, for example, APP. Not so long ago, it was sitting at 400 level. Well, before it's trying to break 300. And right now it's back up at around 350. But a lot of stocks are going to prior highs. They're losing momentum rather fast. And the characteristic of a lot of these stocks, they're not getting there on any crazy kind of volume. So for them to take out the prior highs, you want to see some substantial volume. And my argument is simple. The volume is not there. And For example, Tesla, right? That's an easy trade. We shorted Tesla yesterday. We shorted Tesla today. And the argument is simple. If you look at the history of Tesla, any kind of event that the market is just always looking forward to, it's a new model, it's new this, well, it's a new technology, it's a new whatever, right? Well, this time it's a robotaxi. So the robotaxi's out. I mean, the market's cheering, everything wonderful, with the exception that if you study the history of what happens next, Tesla's got a 99.99 fucking probability of a drop in the following few days. So you can't stop 13 market moves from shorting such an easy trade. So here's the thing. Okay, yesterday, nobody fucking wanted to short Tesla. The whole world was trying to buy it at 357. Today, nobody wants to touch it at 345. Okay? And in terms of options, that's a decent trade already, but it's nowhere near where this trade could go by the end of this trading week. Tesla could be back to 287. It could be down to 302. I mean, those are our two targets on Tesla for the week. But the point is, these stocks that are getting pretty close, and 357 was not an all-time high for Tesla, but if you pull up the chart, you can clearly see, look, it's a level of struggle for Tesla at around 360. So we didn't even hit that level, and that's my argument. The market does not necessarily have to touch the prior all-time highs. As far as, let's say, talking about S&P 500 futures /ES, if you would look at the chart of that, then the prior all-time highs were set at 61.66. Today, at one point, we were trading at 61.50, 152 area. So, I mean, we're 15 points, I guess, we're 14, 15 points off all-time highs. No. I'm looking at the chart at 55. So we're literally 11 points off of all-time highs. And what I'm saying is, most of the people are not selling. They're waiting for it to go back there tomorrow or overnight, open and overcome that level and move even higher. So a little overshoot clearly could happen. But what I'm saying, in many instances, it doesn't even have to. Okay? And just pull up the charts of some stocks that have been very popular that, a lot of people are trading, a lot of people are watching, have a lot of trading volume as far as shares and options as well. So sometimes they don't have to go untouch the prior high. Within a few points could be technically considered that we just met that condition, and considering there's no volume, that is a characteristic of a top. And in this case, for some stocks, it's a double top. For the market, it's a double top. For some stocks, a quadra top. For some stocks, it's, but stocks are definitely falling apart. And another ticker that is very unknown is LPLA, which is a financial stock. It would be in the same category of Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, and it's in that financial category, BLK and so on. So overall, financial stocks are up today. But guess what? LPLA, I spotted that stock when it was down $7. It ended up the day like minus $22. Not a bad trade for a day trade, but that tells us. It's sort of like there's some stocks within sectors, they're losing momentum like super crazily fast. That is a stock that in the last month has not had a move of over like $2-3 a day. And it has a day like today when the market is like within 11 points of all-time highs. And this stock is collapsing. And all over the news, what are they talking about? Oh, well, how great. The technology sector is up. The financial sector is up. But yet they're canary in the gold mines within those sectors. Like CRCL, down 30% within 24 hours. LPLA, a financial stock that's down like crazily, 8 to 10% within a few trading hours. I'm not even talking about a whole trading session. I'm not even talking about an overnight trade. It was just somebody knows something. Somebody is beginning to unload these stocks in a crazy kind of way. So we're seeing a move expansion to the downside. And the reason why it is a confirmation of the top, because the true top information is lacking the volume to the upside. So when you have this expectation that something is going to break out higher, okay, and you're sitting there expecting it to break out high, and it's not breaking out high, and you're sitting there, oh, it's sure enough, it's going to do it tomorrow, oh, and it's not doing it again, and it's like, you do that shit for like 2 weeks, you're like, you know what, fuck it, I don't think it's going to break out, and you begin selling. Well, guess what, the moment you begin selling, and I'm just hypothetically speaking, I mean, it don't have to be, it could be somebody else out there just loses their patience, begin selling. Other market participants, they lose their patience and they begin selling as well. So you have a situation where nobody was selling for like a while because they were expecting, for the market to break above and go higher. And all of a sudden, one person bails out because like he's fed up, waiting. Nothing is happening. Sideways. And there comes the breaking point because a few people get fed up and they begin selling. And all of a sudden the sell volume spikes. And because there's no buyers, it doesn't take many sellers to bring the stocks down to the magnitude where you normally don't even see them trade like this. You could say, well, but we had some big moves in CRCL to the upside. I mean, we had days when that thing was up $20, $40. Yeah, well, you haven't had a day where this shit was down $80 within a 24-hour time span. LPLA, you haven't had a move, to the magnitude of $20 since like, the crazy days of April 2nd, 2025. And what I'm saying, all these other stocks that technically look beautiful, hey, they're breaking out to all-time highs. You got Microsoft, for God's sake. Okay, on tiny-ass little volume, crawling up to all-time highs. This shit is going to flop, okay? I'm not saying tomorrow. It could very well flop tomorrow, but it could just try a few more days, right? And people are going to see, okay, it's stalling and selling. And then when the first wave of selling comes, people still think, okay, we're buying a dip. But then the second wave comes right after that, and before you know, people are unloading, and they're not unloading just a little bit. So the definition of like when, the condition for a drop, the way it happens is all you need is just the sellers to exceed the number of buyers. Well, considering everyone's been buying for the last 74 days since the lows, okay, there's less and less likelihood that more people are just going to get excited and say, well, fuck it, we're buying. As a matter of fact, what I've noticed today, that puts on S&P 500 futures were exceeding the calls 4-1. That tells me people were getting concerned that as we're going to try to retest potentially the all-time highs, the prior all-time highs, that we can get a sharp drop-off. And again, the sharp drop-off happens, we don't have to have a crazy catalyst for it. It's just a technical thing, okay? We're getting there and we're not breaking out beyond the all-time highs. Market participants begin losing patience one by one. They're like, oh shit, oh my God, somebody's selling. Oh fuck, I'd better not be the last one to sell. Fuck, I'm selling too. And then before you know, it's a domino, it's a chain reaction. Before you know, it's like, whoa, hold on, we were just at all-time highs. Oh shit, we're 100 points under all-time highs. Fucking panic sets in. Oh my God, 150. Man, I'm out. Fuck, I'm selling. Like, I'm low. Fucking, we're down 217 points for the day. Like, that's how these highly positive setups, they begin, and then they can unwind rather rapidly. So this setup is from the technical perspective is there. And don't get me started with all these political lies and bullshit and crap that, the news are trying to have you focus. There's one thing that is clear. The actual economy is falling apart. And so Federal Express announces earnings and gives horrible guidance. And, Federal Express, it's a part of the transportation index. And if you go back, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, where I was recording some messages about, why we're seeing all these bear signs. One of them was the transportation index. Basically, I said, look, it's the first canary in the gold mine. When the market makes a big move to the downside, I mean, the transports take a big hit. And sure, Federal Express is down after hours. Ticker FDX, but it's a great barometer for how overall economy is looking, not just in the United States but globally, and it's not looking good looking forward. Since we all know the markets like to price things not based on what happened in the past, but what could be happening in the future, then if you pay close attention to the numbers of FedEx, shit is not looking good if you focus on the future. So that would be the reason to sell. And FedEx is not your AI play. It's not your AI company. Sure, a handful of companies could still do well, okay? But overall, I mean, if they're up as much as CRCL, they're going to take a hit. So, I mean, this is danger zone for the market. And what I explained to you, how some market participants are going to lose patience, it can happen lightning fast. So don't just look at the current complacency of the market thinking, oh, it's fine. Well, Bitcoin is back up to 105. Like that means nothing, okay? If Bitcoin doesn't break out above 112 in the next 3-4 trading sessions, fuck, it's over. Like, this shit is going to lightning fast go down to 80, maybe even 74. And just go look at the fucking charts I've just called out, guys. CRCL, it looks like it's going to the moon, right? Until it doesn't. Nobody, like, look, the whole world wanted to buy CRCL yesterday for 300. Now, today, nobody wants to touch it at fucking 230, 220. That tells you how quickly the market could turn the fuck around in exact opposite direction on day-to-day basis. And if they're willing to dump the stock market darlings of the last 2 weeks, don't you think they're also going to dump the dogs of the last 2 weeks that are not even crawling to the all-time highs? So just, there's also, on top of just the simple psychology and the technical aspects of the market I just explained, there's also a high probability outcome of a black swan event, which can come in some unexpected blow-ups, unexpected bankruptcies, which come in as, in terms of, like a crazy event. I mean, everybody's thinking that, everything is under control now in Iran, in Israel, and United States. But look, United States have built so many enemies over the years that people around the world are just fed up. And so I wouldn't be shocked, like a cyber attack could hit overnight. Sure. A supersonic missile could hit the White House. Sure. Wouldn't even be a fucking shocker, like any kinds of crazy shit. And not to say that a strike on the United States cannot happen within. So, like, all kinds of possibilities are out there because of what United States been doing to other countries for a couple of centuries. But, like, people are not going to back down to this bullshit no more. And, I mean, I think that is probably the most overlooked aspect. United States Army is in a horrible condition. Both as far as weapons and as far as preparation. And many of you may not agree with that, but like, fuck, let me just point out, did you watch the parade of the United States? That was total embarrassment. Did you watch the parade of other nations across the world outside of NATO? Man, it's like, wow, what a fucking difference. And so I think a lot of our nations, including Iran, are way more prepared for a war and a long-lasting war than probably most of the people can even possibly remotely imagine. So, and I think some wild shit can happen, not in, and it's something that's just going to hit the news unexpectedly, and people just, they're not going to fucking believe it. But it is provoked, it's a provoked response. Fuck, United States should have never fucked with Iran like they've been doing with many other countries. I think this time there's going to be some repercussions, which we have not seen yet. We have not seen them yet. Just the fact that the way Iran responded with in Qatar, with the way that they approached with the missile attack, they gave such an advanced forewarning and everything. I mean, it's like, this is just the first step in the playbook. I think we're about to see the next 13 steps here. And they're not going to be pretty. They're not going to be pretty for Israel. They're not going to be pretty for the United States. I mean, the United States is going to get what it fucking deserves, and so is Israel. And the whole world is fucking fed up with this shit. So I don't see this political spectacle that, through Truth Social messages, it is going to be a moment very soon in the next few days where people are not going to believe any of them fucking messages. Because it's fucking garbage. The news, the fucking Truth Social, the shit they post everywhere, it's just such garbage. If you just focus on the basics. Inflation is running out of control. Federal Reserve just fucking said that. We still don't know what the fuck is going to happen. Okay, that's what Federal Reserve Chairman said today. Okay, you got war. One day we have one, the next day we don't, and then it fucking escalates when nobody fucking expects it. Inflation's going to the moon. Don't just look at the oil price dropped in the last 2 days. Okay, I mean, it's not a anyways, guys, these are fucking dangerous times, and I think the market is making a serious miscalculation that the pressure is off, that all of a sudden you're going to have a big, beautiful bill passed, you're going to have a big, beautiful, ceasefire. My take on this is the time to put on the big, beautiful short, like today on the 24th of June, tomorrow on the 25th of June, the day after on the 26th of June. Because the market will absolutely fucking break. And I would assign a 98.1% probability to the fact that the market will absolutely fucking break. And there's going to be an expansion to the move based off everything I explained. And that's without any speculation as far as the political arena. I'm just talking about the psychology of trading, the technicals. If we don't even go into the political bullshit and the possibility of a black swan, if we don't even go there, the market could easily reverse. And for the first day today, I've noticed how cheap the options were in relation to where they were prior. So people are relaxed. They think the worst is over. Hey, the market's going to go to all-time high and beyond and blah, blah, blah. And briefly for a moment, we can. But it's just, remember, that is the big, beautiful short that you should be taking. Anyways, you got any questions about specifics of the big, beautiful short? Because some stocks, they will drop a lot more than the other ones. Give us a call here at 13mmtv.com, 13marketmoves.com. Get in touch with your coach. If you've traded with one in the past and you have not hit $1 million yet, this is your fucking chance. Let's go, guys.